Okay, so if you're a PC enthusiast, you know that building your own PC can be one of the most enriching and exciting things to do. However, if you know someone who lacks the technical know how, for them, getting a PC assembled or even assembling it on their own can be a very tedious task. I mean, you can run into multiple compatibility issues, and if you're getting it built by some of your local computer store, you might actually end up getting scammed for scrappy parts or not genuine parts, or maybe they're just asking you for a premium for a part that you don't even actually want. Now, alternatively, you can get a pre-built desktop from almost all of the top OEMs out there, but most of the times those systems are using cheap parts that are not really that good. And secondly, brands usually charge a lot of premium over actual parts simply in the name of brand value, and that basically means that you lose out on a lot of value for money. So, what to do? Well, this right here is the Asus ROG G10 CE, which is one of the best pre-built desktop options on offer from Asus. Now, it specifically asked the company to send me the base variant, like literally the base variant that is priced for just rupees 80,000, actually a little less than that. And it comes equipped with, pretty decent specs for that price. However, there are still plenty of questions around it. How good is the performance of this machine? And how much of a difference are you actually paying for this if you were to actually just build a PC on your own? And more importantly, if there is a premium involved, what extra features are Asus ROG offering? Well, we'll be answering all of those questions in this video. This is Warren from GTR and you're watching my in-depth review of the Asus ROG G10 CE desktop. Let's get started. Yeah, I need to take this off the desk. I'll just continue with the anchoring and take it off the desk. Alright, so first off, let's start by talking about what all stuff you actually get inside the box. There's the cabinet itself, an acrylic side panel option if you prefer to flash your RGB lights inside, an Asus keyboard and mouse, some documentation, a power supply cable, and that's it. I mean, obviously that's the generic stuff, and I'll be using the same adjective to describe the keyboard and the mouse. I mean, I won't be dwelling much in detail about both of those things. It's there in the box. You can use it if you want to. I would personally recommend investing in a good keyboard and mouse because it's very basic. Very basic. Yeah, let's just keep it at that. Anyway, the focus has to be on the PC, so let's talk about that. Starting off with the cabinet itself, you get a custom Asus ROG cabinet here with the RGB lighting up front, along with an RGB strip inside that's running from the top and going towards the front end. Now the transparent panel here is acrylic and provides a good window to the internals of the machine. In terms of cooling, you get a single CPU fan cooler along with a cabinet cooler as well, which is very petite. Unfortunately, there are no more slots to install any other fans that you want later on, which is a thing to keep in mind. Now, I will be talking about the thermal department in detail later on, but as far as the design goes, that is what you need to know right now. Overall, I would say it's a solid budget cabinet with controllable RGB via Asus's Aura Sync. It's nothing fancy, but it definitely gets the job done. Now, in terms of connectivity, you have an RJ45 gigabit Ethernet port, an HDMI 1.4 port, 2 display ports, 2 PS2 ports, 3 audio jacks, 2 USB 2.0 Type A ports, 4 USB 3.2 Gen 1 Type A ports. All of these are at the back. Now front, you have one 3.5 headphone jack combo along with a couple of USB 3.2 Gen 1 Type A ports. You also get Bluetooth 4.2 and dual band Wi-Fi support here. Well, there's not a lot missing here, but considering that it's 2022, I would have really liked to see at least one Type-C port. I'm not asking for a lot, but at least one Type-C port would have been really good here. Alright, so now let's talk about the specs here. Now our unit here, which like I said is the base variant, comes equipped with an Intel Core i5 11400F processor coupled with a single stick of 8GB DDR4 RAM at 3200 MHz. You get a 512GB NVMe SSD from WD along with a 1TB 7200 RPM Toshiba hard disk. For GPU prowess, you have the NVIDIA GeForce GTX 1650 here with 4GB of VRAM, and it comes with a single fan for its own cooling. Now in terms of performance, the benchmarks are on your screen, and to be honest, it is about what I would expect from a machine with this configuration, be it 3D Mark, Unigen or Crystal Disk Mark. The i5 processor has pretty respectable scores in Cinebench and PCMark, which makes it seem pretty good for gaming as well as day-to-day needs. Now speaking of gaming, let's talk about the GPU here. Now the GTX 1650 is definitely outdated by 2022's modern standards, but that does not mean it's a bad card. In fact, for esports titles like Valorant and Rocket League, you can easily get an average of 144 FPS, which is pretty good. For higher demanding games like Far Cry 6 and Cyberpunk 2077 can technically game at medium settings on Full HD resolution, though for best results in current AAA titles, 720p gaming is the way to go. However, keep in mind that these are very high demanding games. If you are someone who's just getting a PC to get started into the PC gaming and you have a whole backlog of a lot of PC games that you haven't played, like titles that are like even AAA titles from 2018 or 2019 will run pretty fine on this machine on medium and a combo of high settings. Now, one thing I was curious about were the thermals on this thing. Considering the lack of cooling fans in here and the fact that the room temperature in my city at the time of testing in itself is 32 degrees with the outside temperature touching 45 degrees Celsius, I had very little hopes from this. But to my surprise, the Asus ROG does not disappoint at all. I mean, forget disappointing, it actually impresses you quite a lot. In a Cinebench loop test for 1 hour, the peak temps that my machine reached were just 81 degrees for the CPU and about 60 degrees for the GPU. Honestly speaking, that's pretty good. Now, of course, a lot of people will be looking at this machine as their entry gate into the world of PC gaming, and the whole idea about PC gaming is that you can upgrade things later on. So, what about the upgradability of this machine? Well, in that aspect, the ROG G10C definitely has you covered. You get an additional M2 storage along with 5 more SATA ports for expanding storage. The motherboard here comes with a total of 4 RAM slots, so you still have 3 slots available for expanding the RAM. What's more is that there's a 500 watt power supply on board here, which can easily support even an RTX 3060 when paired with this specific processor. As such, you can easily upgrade the setup to a mid-tier gaming beast, and as in when you can afford it, and as in when the parts are actually available. So let's talk about the pricing here. Alright, so our unit of the Asus ROG G10C, which like I told you is the base variant, as configured will cost you about 78,990 rupees. Now, I actually went on Amazon and searched for the pricing, and I also went outdoors to check for individual prices in our offline computer stores, because obviously there is some disparity. Some things sell cheaper online on Amazon or other retailers, while some things cost a lot cheaper when you buy them on offline stores. So I went out, and here's an average of all the prices, as you can see on your screen right now. Now, there are a couple of things to keep in mind. One, obviously GPU prices are a little high right now. Yes, things are coming down, but still, like paying 23,000 for a 1650 individually still is a lot, considering that card used to retail for 14,000, especially it's a single fan unit. Yes, it's a GDDR6 variant, but still, anything above 15,000 is overpriced for that card. But anyway, you have to understand how the market works right now. Add to that the fact that a single license key for Windows 11 is definitely overpriced as an end consumer. Obviously, it costs very less for Asus as an OEM, but for an end consumer, it costs a lot. And I'm sure you can go on other websites and get it for very, very low prices. But the price that I've mentioned here is from Microsoft's official website. And I'll be honest, if you want like the 100% assurity, like just to be 100% safe, this is the way that I would recommend with. But anyway, it's your call. Nonetheless, my point is that roughly it's not like Asus is charging a lot. Even if we reduce those two prices, like if you factor in the surge pricing of the GPU and the excess that you're paying for the license, the price of your DIY build would come approximately close to what Asus is asking for. Now, of course, there will still be a little bit premium, even if the GPU prices were down, but it's not like that premium is not worth it. Like, at least anyway, right now, Asus's pre-built is cheaper than your DIY build. But in the like ideal world scenario where your DIY build would be at an optimal price and it would cost somewhere around 75,000, even in that scenario, the premium that you would pay for an Asus pre-built here is kind of worth it, simply because it offers you a couple of things. But if I have to describe it in a nutshell, it would be peace of mind. See, here's the thing. The PC comes with 3 years of on-site warranty. Now, the reason why that matters is if I am getting a PC built myself, yes, I have warranty, but then I have it on individual parts. If something goes wrong, I have to run behind that specific brand to get it repaired. And in the meanwhile, my system is just sitting idle. For instance, I'll just tell you a personal instance. Well, not personal to me, but to my editor, who recently faced an issue. In his own system, the motherboard wasn't working. And this happened when he had gone back to his hometown in Assam. Now, the problem is, while the brand was ready to honor the warranty, it's not a metro city. Getting that motherboard RMA'd took him a total of 3.5 months. That's a lot of time. Now, in comparison, if you were to buy a pre-build like this from Asus, not only do you get 3 years of on-site warranty, if Asus isn't able to fix your system when they come to your place, what they'll do is they'll give you a temporary system. So that basically means that you get close to zero downtime, which is a very important factor. Now, there are a couple reasons of that. One, if you're working in an industry like people like us, we cannot afford downtimes. We have editing rigs here, and to wait for 2 weeks for a part is not something that we can afford. And even so, there are a lot of technicalities involved. Now, as an advanced user, I might be okay with that. But as a novice user or someone who just needs a system for gaming but isn't really into tech per se, they don't really want to get involved in all of those technicalities. So that is where a pre-build like this gets you that peace of mind. Also, one more thing that I really love about Asus's warranty here is that even if you upgrade your system, which is the whole point of getting into a gaming PC, upgradability down the line, you can just start with a random system right now and then upgrade it down the line. With Asus's warranty, you can swap out different parts and Asus will still continue to honor the warranty on the remaining parts of the system. So that's great. And that brings us to the verdict basically. Now, if I were to buy the system, the first thing that I would do is upgrade the RAM. A single stick of 8GB RAM is definitely not enough. It's the clear bottleneck here in our system. Just upgrade the RAM and your performance will be damn good. Then later down the road, once prices come down, you can obviously upgrade to a different GPU. The ideal thing for this specific system, if you don't want to do a lot of upgrades, would be the RTX 3060, which is still great. And that's the whole point. In the current scenario, getting a pre-build definitely costs you a lot cheaper as compared to getting a PC build. And that's the whole point here. Neither me nor the brand or anyone is trying to say that pre-builds are better than DIYs. No, they're not. Nobody's arguing over that. DIYs have their own market, pre-builds have their own market. And that is the thing that everyone needs to understand. Even as a DIY enthusiast who has his own PC DIY'd, for my office, I would go for a pre-build. And if you are someone who just does not want to deal with the hassles of troubleshooting, compatibility issues, and all of that stuff, a pre-build is a better choice for you. Well, that was it. If you found this video helpful, make sure to let us know by giving us a thumbs up and subscribing to our channel for more awesome tech content. Till then, this is Vam from GTR, and I'll see you in the next one.